Hi, everyone. I'm Contessa Brewer. Thank you for joining us. Paris remains a city on edge. During a memorial Sunday for victims of Friday's terror attacks, panic broke out, sending dozens of people running for cover. Police rushed to the area, set up a perimeter with rifles in hand. After some tense moments, police said it was all a false alarm sparked by a loud noise. A manhunt is on right now for this man, Salah Abdeslam. Police say he's a suspect in Friday night's attacks that left 129 dead and more than 350 wounded. He was identified after authorities linked him to a car rented in Belgium. Here's where the investigation stands. In Brussels, 7 people have been arrested in connection to the attacks. At least 3 of the terrorists have been identified. French President François Hollande has vowed a merciless response against ISIS, who has claimed responsibility for these atrocities. Elaine Cobbe is in Paris now. Elaine, talk a little bit about this false alarm and what the reaction was throughout Paris.
Well, it seems that panic is definitely the order of the day this evening. There were sounds of what some people thought were gunshots around Place de la République. There were others also near Notre Dame, where a memorial service was underway at the cathedral. And it set panic off around. People were running down the streets. I'm here by the Bataclan concert hall, where more than 80 people were killed Friday night. And as I arrived earlier, people were running in the other direction. Then fire trucks came through, even the police were clearing the roads, and the military were here. It's all very, very tense, but it turned out it was just a false alarm, and of course Twitter, social media, setting people on edge as they read about things happening and everyone getting very worried.
French authorities have issued an arrest warrant for Abdeslam Salah at this point. Are they confident he's the remaining attacker on the loose, or are they holding open the possibility that there may be other conspirators, other terrorists who were involved?
They believe he was involved in it. He has been identified as the brother of one of the terrorists who was killed during the attacks, his brother Ibrahim. So these were born in Belgium, but they were French who lived in Brussels. And earlier today, the Interior Minister of France said it was clear that the teams involved in these very coordinated attacks had at least one team working out of Belgium.
And the fact that 3 of the 7 suicide bombers killed in the Paris attacks are now identified as French, what's that likely to do to the French sense of security if you know people who are living among you could be insidious terrorists waiting to attack?
That's something that actually has been on people's minds since January and the attacks on Charlie Hebdo newspaper and the kosher supermarket, because they were French too. It is something that has set people on edge. It's something that the Muslim community in Paris is very aware of, and saying, you know, just because some of the Muslims in France are radicalized doesn't mean we all are, but it does make people a little more jumpy. And it's certainly making people concerned about being out in public places. This weekend, all the traditional markets were closed because it was considered just too much of a risk to keep them open.
So you have a city on edge, a city in mourning, but tomorrow begins a work week. How will Paris go about trying to get back to normal?
A lot of things are getting back to normal. Some of the buildings that were closed, city offices, schools, they are open again tomorrow. The cinemas are back open today, but some still remain closed. The Eiffel Tower will be closed tomorrow, and they will decide in the morning whether they will keep it closed, whether they will open it again. Disneyland Paris, very popular with tourists visiting Paris, will be closed until Wednesday. But there's still this concern about where people will go out. Talking to people here saying, you know, I don't want to stay home and let the terrorists win, but I'm certainly going to be a little more careful when I'm out and about.
Elaine Cobbe, thank you so much for the report.